This episode is brought to you by Dashlane. Protect your valuable data from prying eyes with a free account from the new and improved Dashlane. If you were asked to make a list of oppressive regimes, North Korea would probably be pretty close to the top of the list. Under the iron-fisted leadership of the Kim family, currently Kim Jong-un, North Korea has become something of a bizarre novelty. Ridiculed for their floundering nuclear weapons program, but feared for their zealous hatred of the West and the potential for what their nuclear program could become. North Korea is a desperately poor country. Starvation and malnutrition are commonplace among the citizens. But the image the government projects to the world, and to its own population, is one of peace, freedom, and a glorious future. This is all government-sanctioned propaganda, of course, but it's hard to know just how much the average North Korean knows about the true state of their country. Luxury buildings are just empty shells used for show, and even in propaganda films it's easy to tell that none of the technology works. If we juxtapose this authoritarian, hyper-militant state with its sister, South Korea, we see some very distinct differences. South Korea is wealthy, modern, and a technological powerhouse. Its people are generally healthy and free to pursue their own endeavors as they choose. They get along well with most of the civilized world, and no one is afraid of South Korea attempting to nuke anybody. These two countries, separated by nothing but a small expanse of demilitarized land and some barricades, provide a fascinating look at how two different tracks of development can lead to drastically different outcomes in a population that was once unified. So, if we work from the assumption that South Korea is the more positive outcome, would it be possible for North Korea to make an abrupt change and become a more stable, free, and wealthy country? What would happen if North Korea were suddenly to abandon its autocratic tendencies and adopt a more democratic government? First, let's consider how this might happen. There have been peace talks between the Koreas in recent years, but the North has always lapsed back into hateful rhetoric and nuclear testing. Let's assume that Kim Jong-un dies, and his successor is far more open to the idea of a lasting peace and cooperation between North and South Korea, and the rest of the civilized world at large. This dramatic shift could go a number of ways. There are too many high-level government officials making good money off the corrupt regime as it currently exists, so assuming everyone would just go along with the change would be naive. A move towards democracy would also require a dismantling of the government propaganda machine, as well as a re-educating of the citizens and a significant investment in infrastructure and modern technology. The United States and South Korea would likely be more than willing to foot some of the bill for helping the new leadership build up to a 21st century society, especially since America has always had a thing for encouraging shifts away from communism. But whether that influx of cash would be enough to kickstart the North Korean economy is debatable. Assuming the demilitarized zone becomes a more traditional border between the North and the South, and that North Korean citizens would be free to leave the country if they chose to do so, we could see a migration of North Koreans into the South to seek employment. This could initially lead to some problems for the South Koreans, because the northern workers would be willing to take jobs for greatly reduced pay. That being said, savvy investors from the South and around the world could make a lot of money by purchasing land or developing businesses in the newly opened North. There would likely be a scramble to capitalize on, well, capitalism, and snatch up the means of production in North Korea. Odds are some of the brass from the old Kim regime would be in a great position to stake their claims in the new economy, because they know the country and they have the money to invest. Whether this leads to more corruption in the future is anyone's guess. Speaking of corruption, if the entire population, with the exception of some government higher-ups, is uneducated, how would a change in governing style make any difference? Wouldn't the educated, corrupt government officials from the old regime find a way to get their candidates elected? That's a very real possibility. It wouldn't be the first country to become a democracy in name only. Look at Iran or Zimbabwe. That being said, both America and South Korea would have a vested interest in making sure the North became a proper, fair democracy with legitimate elections. Would it be guaranteed to work thanks to their oversight? Absolutely not, but it would offer an additional level of security from threats from the old regime. Unlike what happened after the Cold War and the reunification of East and West Germany, North and South Korea would likely not be able to reunite in a mutually beneficial way for several years. Thanks to their oppressors, the North has lived in a bubble of outdated and often primitive technology for many years, and they would have to play catch-up with the rest of the civilized world before they could be seen as equal to the South Koreans. They would need modern housing and amenities, safe and reasonable jobs with fair pay and benefits, better communication technology for both internal and international connections, and, perhaps most importantly, they would need free and open access to the internet. This would be a drastic change for the North Korean citizens, from living in an echo chamber of propaganda and lies to having the entirety of world knowledge and experience at their fingertips. This could be a good thing, but also could be easily manipulated for the sake of sparking civil unrest or distrust of the new government. Russia is known for its extensive use of disinformation campaigns to spread dissent and division among susceptible populations, and computer-illiterate North Koreans would be the perfect target. There's no easy answer for how to bring the North up to speed with the modern world, but it would have to happen to ensure a bright future for the country and lasting peace in the region. One of the most important things for ensuring the safety of the North Koreans would be teaching them how to use the internet correctly. With that many inexperienced users accessing the internet for the first time, it would be easy pickings for any unscrupulous cybercriminals. Protecting their new online privacy would be critical. There are plenty of ways to keep yourself and your personal data safe on the internet, but my personal favorite is Dashlane. The new and improved Dashlane is more than just a multi-device password manager. Even though it does do that really well, it also offers a super secure VPN to keep your browsing absolutely safe. No ads, no data collection, and easy access to the peace of mind that can only come from 100% secure browsing. Dashlane also offers dark web monitoring, a service that scans the web for any leaked personal data and sends you alerts, so you can take immediate action to protect your accounts. The kind of data usually targeted is things like usernames and passwords, credit card numbers, social security numbers, phone numbers, and postal and IP addresses. Thanks to dark web monitoring, you never have to worry about that again. Dashlane's dark web service scans more than 12 billion records attached to hacks and data breaches, with almost 1 million new records added every day. Try out these awesome new features by signing up for the 30-day free trial of Dashlane Premium. And if you really want to get serious about online security, be one of the first 200 people to use the coupon code SECONDTHOUGHT and get 10% off your subscription.